The radio crackled to life at 6:47 a.m. An urgent report of a pregnant elephant was in distress near Voi Gate in Tsavo East National Park, labor complications, and immediate veterinary assistance needed. Dr. Joseph Kioko, head veterinarian for the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust's Tsavo Mobile Veterinary Unit, set down his morning coffee and grabbed his kit. He had responded to countless elephant emergencies across Kenya's wilderness, but nothing could prepare him for what was about to unfold on that dusty red road outside Tsavo. The massive elephant cow lay on her side trunk, curled in agony as another contraction tore through her frame. She had been in labor for more than 18 hours, and something was terribly wrong. When Dr. Kioko decided to intervene, the reaction from the surrounding wilderness would challenge everything scientists thought they knew about elephant family bonds. Have you ever witnessed a moment that completely changed your understanding of the animal kingdom? What happens next will leave you speechless. For Dr. Kioko, emergencies were part of his everyday life. As lead veterinarian, he was used to calls about wounded elephants, orphaned calves, or animals caught in conflicts. Working alongside the Kenya Wildlife Service, he had saved countless lives across the vast landscapes of Tsavo, but the call from rangers at Voi Gate was different. A pregnant elephant in severe distress had been spotted off the main road, completely separated from her herd. That was unusual. Elephant births are deeply social events where the family unit surrounds the mother, providing protection and comfort. Loading his specialized equipment into a reinforced Land Cruiser, Kioko set off. The 40-minute drive gave him time to prepare. In his 15 years treating elephants, he had seen births go wrong before, and without help, outcomes were rarely good. As he approached the location, he heard her before he saw her in deep, resonant calls of pain echoing across the savannah. When he finally spotted her, his heart sank. She was lying in the red dirt, sides heaving from exhaustion. Fresh wounds along her flanks revealed a recent territorial conflict, likely the reason she was alone and vulnerable. Kioko parked at a safe distance and observed through binoculars. The elephant had been in labor far too long, and signs of fetal distress were clear. In the wild, prolonged labor usually meant death for both mother and calf. He radioed headquarters for backup, but he knew he couldn't wait. Every minute mattered. Preparing his supplies, he faced one of the most dangerous tasks imaginable: anesthetizing a 4-ton animal, correcting the complication, and saving 2 lives under field conditions. What would you do if every move could be the difference between life and death? With practiced precision, Kioko approached the exhausted cow. Her eyes followed him, but she didn't resist a sign that her strength was nearly gone. Using a dart gun, he administered a carefully measured anesthetic enough to calm her, but not enough to endanger the calf. As the tranquilizer took hold, he began his examination. His blood ran cold. The calf was in breech position, lodged in the birth canal, and without immediate manual intervention, both would die. This was every wildlife veterinarian's nightmare, a life-or-death procedure with minimal equipment, alone in the wild. He had assisted births before, but never under conditions like these. Working quickly, he began the delicate process of repositioning the calf internally. The task required immense physical strength and precise knowledge of elephant anatomy. One wrong move could cause fatal bleeding. Sweat poured down his face as he worked, speaking softly to the mother the whole time. After 30 agonizing minutes, he felt the calf shift, and with the next push, the calf slid free onto the grass. Kioko cleared its airways and stimulated breathing. The newborn is about the size of a large dog, but already weighing more than 220 pounds, let out a weak but healthy cry. From the surrounding acacia groves came a deep rumble, then another. The sound grew louder, coming from every direction. Dozens of elephants emerged from the bush: bulls, cows, juveniles, calves, all moving with purpose. Their trunks tested the air eyes locked on Kioko, the mother, and the newborn. Kioko froze. He knew how dangerous an angry herd could be, especially when protecting a calf. His radio was back in the vehicle. He was completely exposed, but instead of charging, the elephants did something extraordinary. They formed a perfect protective circle around Kioko, the mother, and her calf. Their massive bodies created a living barrier against the outside world. The matriarch stepped forward. Weathered with age, she approached, slowly stopping an arm's length away. Kioko held still as she extended her trunk and gently touched his shoulder before turning to examine the newborn. The matriarch began making soft, rumbling calls, the same sounds elephant mothers use to comfort their calves. The rest of the herd responded, creating a chorus of reassurance. For the next 2 hours, they stood guard the newborn, taking its first wobbly steps inside the circle, nudged along by its mother's trunk. One by one, members of the herd approached to smell and welcome the calf, the same ritual they perform when a baby is born within their own family. Kioko stood in the center, documenting everything. He was no longer just an observer, but for those 2 hours, he was part of the circle. When the mother regained her strength, the matriarch gave a low rumble slowly, and the herd opened a pathway toward the forest. But before they left, the mother approached Kioko, wrapping her trunk gently around his wrist. She looked into his eyes for several long seconds, then touched his forehead with the tip of her trunk. Researchers would later confirm that this gesture is typically reserved for family members and trusted allies. The herd began moving toward the trees, the mother and calf safely surrounded. Yet several elephants kept turning back to look at Kioko, as if acknowledging his role in their survival. When Kioko radioed his report, his voice trembled. At first, headquarters didn't believe him, but when they saw his footage, they were stunned. Dr. Joyce Poole, one of the world's leading elephant behavior experts, was brought in to analyze the recordings. "This is unbelievable," she explained. "The herd didn't just tolerate a human, they included him in their protective behavior. The touching the circle, the interaction, these are gestures usually reserved for family. It shows a level of emotional intelligence and gratitude that is extraordinary." The Sheldrick Wildlife Trust began documenting similar cases of elephant-human cooperation. Kioko's footage became training material for veterinarians across Africa. 6 months later, during patrol in the same area, Kioko encountered a herd that approached calmly, and among them was a young calf showing no fear of him. It was the same baby he had delivered. The mother stood nearby, watching but relaxed. She remembered him, and more than that, she had passed her trust on to her calf. Kioko's experience became a cornerstone in understanding elephant emotional intelligence and memory. It proved that elephants are capable of gratitude, recognition, and even inclusion in ways science is only beginning to grasp. The circle that formed around him that morning wasn't just protection, it was recognition. Recognition that in a moment of crisis, he had chosen compassion over caution. That day near Voi Gate changed everything for him. It showed that when humans extend genuine help, the natural world can respond with trust that transcends species. Sometimes the greatest discoveries don't come from research labs, but from moments when we choose kindness. The circle of trust formed that day continues to inspire conservation efforts across Kenya, reminding us that humans and elephants can be partners in protecting the future of Africa's wilderness. Have you ever had an experience with wildlife that changed your perspective forever? What would you have done in Dr. Kioko's situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing stories of connection between humans and the animals we share this planet with. And if this story moved you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our explorations into the remarkable bonds of the animal kingdom. Thank you for watching, and remember, every act of kindness creates ripples that can change lives across species.